Superman. Dun, 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 dun. Superman. Hello, this is Mr. Hornsby 83. This is the Mr. Hornsby 83 show, and yesterday I am doing a review of the first two episodes of My Adventures of Superman for Season 3, which just premiered a week ago. And, wanted to get a review out of that show. I was gonna do the Mortal Kombat figures, but shoot, ugh, that made me yawn like that. But I was gonna do the Johnny Cage and Raiden figures, but I just fixed my son's shelves in his room, and I don't want to move the Johnny Cage and Raiden and freaking make it fall, make those fall. So we're going to get the My Adventures with Superman first two episodes review. But before I start the review, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the great fathers out there, because yesterday was our day, Father's Day. So yeah, in fact, yesterday, heck, I spent most of yesterday with my wife and my kids. Well, both my kids are adults now, but over in Ohio in Fairfield, because I had to get some knee pads for this Bret Hart figure that I bought not too long ago. And I found a freaking Jinder Mahal. Now, yeah, the new pads are a little darker pink than the singlet, but hey, they're not that bad. I was like, I'll make it work just like I did with the Jack Nicholson head for my Joker figure. So yeah, I hope you guys had a good Father's Day yesterday. I had a pretty good one, like I said. Spent the whole day with my wife and kids. Came home, ate dinner, watched X-Men the animated series, and yeah, went to bed. Eventually. Anyway, so let's get into My Adventures of Superman Season 3, first two episodes. Now, a lot more happened, a lot more important stuff happened in like episode 2 of Season 3 than episode 1, but we did have the first episode pretty much was picking up with the events of what happened with the end of Season 2 with Kara attacking Earth under Brainiac's command, because she thought Brainiac was her father, but he wasn't. I guess he kidnapped her from her parents. And Kara trying to get used to being in the real, trying to get used to being on Earth, being around her cousin Kal-El and all that stuff. And they were building toward hers and Jimmy Olsen's love story, which they kind of started at the end of Season 2, and they kind of carried it over to this season. I'll tell you what, though, I gotta say, Season 2, I remember the season finale of that episode pretty well, and that was a couple years ago, but Season 1 finale, I can't remember. I think it like Superman fought like Katniss or something at the end, but I don't know. Anyway, so while that's all going on, they find this facility, and in that facility they find Bizarro, who's like been raised by this human doctor, but the doctor's dead. I don't know how he died. I don't know if Bizarro accidentally killed him or if he freaking was killed by Lex Luthor, because it seems like, which we do find out a lot about Lex Luthor's plan in episode 2, but we don't find out till like kind of toward the end. So yeah, one of my dogs are freaking barking. But anyway, so we don't find out till the end of the episode 2. So they're also fighting these freaking robots that look like Brainiac, so they beat the robots and all that stuff, and they find out about that doctor raising Bizarro and treating him with love. I think the doctor was like, what, based off that one doctor that was like friends with Superman and that in the original cartoon, but then turned on Superman and that in the Superman animated series. Shoot. God, alright. I need to quit yawning so much. Anyway, so Superman ends up getting knocked out. Bizarro ends up having to save him, and then like now Bizarro like idolizes Superman, which we see more of that in episode 2. Also, I got mentioned in the intro, we see a shot of Superboy, it looks like. Also, they added Kara to the intro with Superman, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen. So, yeah. So, they added that, and then they're doing that, like I don't know what that freaking thing is. That lightning effect that they've done since, like, season 1, like, you can tell this is trying to be like a freaking anime with the with the way the show's drawn and the storytelling and all that stuff. You can tell it's kind of trying to be like an anime, but I mean, it's pretty good still. I like the show. I mean, and plus we don't get many Superman cartoons. Like, we've had a bunch of Batman cartoons, but we've really never had a Superman cartoon. Like, we've had a bunch of Batman cartoons, and like we've had what, Superman the Animated Series, and then we had the Justice League cartoon, and those are we also had that cartoon like what, from the 70s with Superman, and like I think there was one for the 50s too, but yeah. So we really have not gotten many Superman cartoons the way we have Batman, because we've had like Batman the Animated Series, we have Batman Beyond, we have freaking The Batman, Batman Brave and Bold, Beware the Batman. We also had the 66 show. I guess you could count New Adventures of Batman. But that's part of Batman the Animated Series, so I don't know. We also had the 70s Batman cartoon. And Batman and Robin have been in, Scooby-Doo, one of the Scooby-Doo cartoons where they always had the celebrities on every week, and like they were in multiple episodes too, so yeah. Anyway, back to the Superman show. So then we get to episode 2. It seems like they're still focusing more on the Jimmy and Supergirl love story, and you know, Lois keeps telling, you know, Jimmy he should make his move toward it, but Jimmy thinks he'll screw up the relationship with, or he thinks that frickin' Supergirl will leave him for someone better. They're also like at a Comic-Con convention, I'm guessing, throughout most of this episode, but Superman has to go fight this one girl that I guess was sent by Lex Luthor. She's got these Krypton, she got these kryptonite frickin' whips that can weaken Superman, so Superman's pretty much distracted for most of that episode. It mainly focuses on like Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane and Supergirl. Mainly Supergirl and Jimmy Olsen. And you know, so Superman fights her. He finally beats her because like she ran out of kryptonite on the freaking whips. So Superman's able to beat her, put her in jail, and then he gets back to the Comic-Con, and like there's a point where, you know, Supergirl's getting all these guys coming up to her. Like, there's this one guy that, you know, Jimmy's all freaked out because, like, this big, jacked up dude that looks kind of handsome. And Jimmy's worried that Supergirl might hook up with him. And then, there's a bunch of other guys that are coming to her booth and they're, like, getting autographs from her. There's even this one little boy who has a heart. And he gives it to her to sign, and she signs it, so, yeah. You know, one thing I will say though, I think this is a good cartoon. I just want to see Lex Luthor bald. I cannot, you know, Lex Luthor should not have hair. And the Lex Luthor in this cartoon has hair right now. Maybe down the road they'll make him bald. If they make a season 4, maybe a season 5, who knows. I mean, heck, it took quite a while between this season and frickin' season 2, because, like, season 2 came out, like, a couple years ago. I think that was kind of the case with the first season and the second season. Like, it came out a couple years, season 1 came out a couple years before season 2 did. So, I don't know. But, I'm gonna see Lex Luthor bald. Now, maybe the hair he's got right now is a toupee, and maybe that's why he's after Superman so hard, because, you know, somehow Superman calls him to be bald or something, but I don't know. They really ain't giving too much of a motivation on what Lex Luthor has planned, and why he's going after Superman so hard. Like, season 1 mainly focused on Katniss trying to take down Superman. Season 2 kind of focused on Superman trying to find his cousin, which is, you know, Supergirl. So far this season, it's like Lex Luthor's making all these duplicate Supermans. That's what it's been for the first 2 episodes. Like, he's behind that facility, it seems like, that had Bizarro in it. He's behind that Hank guy who, you know, last time I saw the episode where they had that Hank guy, I think he was on the side of Superman then. Now all of a sudden he's wanting to take down Superman with Lex Luthor, and he's bad. He's like an evil kind of clone of Superman. They even put a, like, I think he's supposed to turn out to end up being Metallo. I don't know. But we'll have to see. There's only 2 episodes so far. One thing I will say, you know, I'm glad this show came back when it did. So we don't have to sit through no more garbage like frickin' so we don't have to sit through no more garbage like Rooster Fighter. God, I hate that frickin' show. Rooster Fighter sucks. And it's lame. But anyway. So the episode ends with, you know, Lex Luthor making some more modifications to Super Hank. Alright, maybe this wasn't a Comic-Con. Maybe it was like some kind of inventor thing or something like this, because Jimmy Olsen made this, like, comic book, and he's depicting that he's the one that helped Superman out more than Superman helped him out. Like, there's this one where Superman's trapped and Jimmy saves him, and then there's another one. He probably even got one where him and Kira hook up in the comic book, who knows. But yeah, overall, yeah, I think it ended with Super Hank getting his freaking metal jaw. I can't remember what the name of the character was, but yeah. I'm just going to call him Super Hank for right now. I mean, overall, first 2 episodes pretty good. They start out, you know, this show usually starts out slow, and then it builds to a big finale as we get to, like, I'd say around episode 3 or 4 we'll start picking up. Maybe about 4 or 5 where they'll start picking up. Cause, like, first few episodes of this show, of these seasons, usually start out slow, and then at the end it comes out to a big old battle at the end and all. I'm hoping that, you know, this cartoon sticks around for quite a while. Like I said, we don't get many Superman cartoons. And you know what? I'd like to see villains like, you know, because we saw Brainiac. He was like the big villain at the end of season 2. Him and Supergirl, but then she realized she was she was doing terrible things and all that stuff for Brainiac. So I'd like to see frickin' they've also they've sprinkled in little seeds of like things, bad things that have happened, like I think it was like season 1 or season 2 where like there's a point where there's this League of Lois Lanes who's from like alternate futures apparently, where Superman went evil. And we know how Superman went evil in the original animated series, which was, you know, a good show. But, well, not the original, but the 90s animated series. Where, you know, it looks like Superman might go bad or something like that. Like we've had like they showed a clip of Injustice Superman one time, and they, you know, the Lois is like, well, you don't know Superman as well as you think you do, because he ends up going evil. So, we'll see. But, yeah, I'd like to see Darkseid be a part of this show. I'd like to see freaking other top Superman villains be a part of this. Mainly Darkseid, because, like, Darkseid's, like, one of my favorite Superman villains, even though he's kind of a Justice League villain, too. Every time I think Darkseid, he's usually a Superman villain. Even though in Justice League Unlimited, the finale was the Justice League having to stop frickin' Darkseid after he'd been resurrected by the Legion of Doom. That's another thing I like to see. Maybe eventually we lead to, Superman starting to start a Justice League again against the Legion of Doom. But we'll have to see, because like I said, we've already seen Katniss. We got Bizarro, who's probably going to end up being bad in this show. I'd also like to see General Zod and that be a part of this. Like Young Justice, what was it? Young Justice Season 4. Which, by the way, I wonder if they're going to bring that show back. Because they did another cliffhanger at the end of Season 4. Where it looked like Darkseid was coming and we never got that freaking resolved. Like, they did it at the end of Season 2. And they freaking got canceled like a couple of weeks before that season finale. And then they brung it back for Season 3 and 4. Years later. And then they teased at the end of Season 4 Darkseid again. Because they fought Zod in the end of Season 4. So, I don't know. Hopefully we'll get Darkseid in this cartoon. Yeah, it is kind of like an anime style Superman cartoon. And like I said, I like the cartoon. And the episodes, I'm going to give... I'll give the first episode a 3 out of 5. The second episode, a lot more happens. It's a little, more action and all that. So I'll give that a 4 out of 5. But both episodes were pretty good. Usually they do like the first 2 episodes. Well, every time a new season, they usually do like the first 2 episodes. So I don't know why they did episode 1 the last Saturday, which was on June 13th. And then they did episode 2 this past Saturday. Usually they'll put them together like in a premiere, but I don't know. I guess they decided just to milk out the episodes. Because even with this show, they've done that. Like when season 1 came out, the first 2 episodes came out, and then you had to wait to get the next 2 episodes. Or the next episodes. And the same thing with season 2. They freaking gave us the next 2 episodes. Apparently this is going to be leading to a My Adventures, or other shows that's called My Adventures. Like there's supposed to be a My Adventures with Green Lantern. A lot of people are predicting they might give us a My Adventures with Batman. Which, if Cape Crusader season 2 does good, they'll probably continue that show. I guess they might lead to a My Adventures with Flash. A lot of people are thinking that's going to happen too. Who knows? I mean, it all depends on how well these shows do. Now, I do like the My Adventures with Superman show. 1, because it's a Superman cartoon. 2, because, at first when I first saw this show, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be good or not. Well, when they started previewing it, then I watched it, and I'm like, the first 2 episodes were okay. And then as it went on, I was like, wow, the show's pretty good. And then, by the end of the show, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this show. Hopefully we get a season 2. We did get season 2. I think season 2 is way better than season 1, honestly. I mean, season 2 was better than season 1. Especially with the finale, because, I can't even remember the finale of season 1. And hopefully season 3 is as good as season 2. So we'll have to see. But, I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys think of My Adventures with Superman. One thing I can't stand, though, this really irritates me, is the voice actor they got for Superman. His voice sounds terrible. I don't like, Superman, you're used to hearing that freaking big, deep Superman voice. But, his voice in this cartoon is terrible, but then again, it's supposed to be based like an anime. And, I don't like Lois Lane's voice either, but you know what? I'm good with all the rest of the voice cast, but golly, man, I hate Superman's voice in this freaking cartoon. That's the only thing I hate about the cartoon is the voice of Superman. If they didn't have him talk at all in the show, it'd probably be a perfect show. But, yeah. But Superman has to talk, because Superman always talks. He's a Boy Scout. He's got to spew his Boy Scout. He's got to spew his Boy Scout speeches. Come on now. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a downgrade from the freaking voice actor from the 90s animated series. Definitely a downgrade. That's my only gripe with the show. Outside of that, I think the show's pretty good. The storytelling is good. The action's good. I don't like the suits as much either, but you know what? At least they're not terrible. But I don't like the suits as much for this show. I like the old classic Superman suit and all that. But you know what? Like I said, this is a different generation of Superman show. It's, you know, the voice actor sounds totally different than what I think of when I hear the voice of Superman. It's kind of like if you hear Batman's voice and he's got a squeaky voice. I mean, shoot, you could never do a Batman voice where he's a squeaky voice. I mean, one thing I will say, despite what I felt about some of the Batman cartoons or not, at least the voice actor was pretty good as Batman. What? At least the voice actor had a good Batman voice and a Bruce Wayne voice. Now, the best to do it in the voice work was, of course, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. But yeah, man. So hopefully, yeah, that's the only gripe. I don't like the suits of Superman or Supergirls. And I don't like the voice actor of Superman, because, like, I'm so used to that frickin' Tim, whatever his last name was, a Tim guy who played Superman in the old animated series. Lex Luthor's voice I don't like too much. I also don't like the fact that he's got hair. Now look, I let it pass with the Superman movies with Gene Hackman, because Gene Hackman, as Lex Luthor in the movies revealed, he's always wearing a toupee. Maybe this Lex Luthor is wearing a toupee, and he don't want people to know he's bald. I don't know, but maybe that's what they're gonna reveal, that he's got a toupee. Like they did in the movies, but who knows? And you know, the show, it's not as good as the old 90s cartoon, but you know what? It's still a pretty good show. So I can handle it. Alright, so now that I'm done with the review, like I said, you guys let me know in the comments what you think of My Adventures with Superman. Like I said, I think it's a good show. Not as good as the 90s cartoon at all, but you know what? Nothing's gonna top the 90s cartoon. I mean, so many cartoons that have come after 90s cartoons have not topped it. A lot of people say, well, X-Men Evolution was better than X-Men the animated series. They're ludicrous for saying that, but you know what? That's their opinion. I got my opinion. A lot of people say that, you know, Spectacular Spider-Man was better than Spider-Man the animated series. They're ludicrous for saying that. But, you know, people have their opinions. I got my opinion. No. So, yeah. And I think the 90s cartoon is definitely going to be better than this cartoon, but this cartoon ain't bad. Some people might think this cartoon is better than the old Superman cartoon. But I don't know how many people will say that, but yeah. Who knows? We'll see. And like I said, I don't even know if the other shows are going to get the ratings that this show gets, because this show's about Superman. So, you know, anytime there's something to do with Superman, people's going to be there to see it. People remember Superman. It's like, so a lot of people, Superman's their favorite superhero. Now, Superman, he's one of my favorites. He's not my top favorite. I love Batman and the X-Men more than freaking Superman. I like the Hulk and that. And Spider-Man. But, you know, some people, you know, I mean, like, My Adventures with Green Lantern, I don't know if it'll do as well as this show. Because it's Superman. And like I said, a lot of people love Superman, so, see. If you haven't watched this show, you should go check it out. Watch the first 2 seasons. And, you know, then watch the first 2 episodes of season 3. And I'll probably have another review of this show probably when they do the final episode of this season. I'm not going to review it week to week to week to week to week like I'm going to do with X-Men 97 season 2. I'm not going to review it week to week to week to week. So, yeah. But I will, maybe here and there I might review, like if it's a really, really good episode, I'll review it. But I decided to review this, not only because I didn't feel like getting the freaking Mortal Kombat figures and that shelf getting messed up, but because, you know, this is the first 2 episodes of a new season of the new Superman cartoon, which is called My Adventures with Superman. So, yeah. Speaking of next week, well, I'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah. So, what I got the rest of this week is freaking, I'm going to do a video talking about if you know, NetherRealm or whatever wants to do another Mortal Kombat show, they should just make it an anime. Because they've tried a cartoon. They've tried 2 live action shows. One was on TNT after Nitro in '98. The other was on YouTube, which is called Mortal Kombat Legacy. And the first show was called Mortal Kombat Conquest, which I thought Mortal Kombat Conquest was pretty good. I remember I watched it. I'm like, I'm going to watch this. And, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I watched that Legacy show too, but, yeah. I know they've done, like, movies that have been kind of like anime movies, but they're really animated movies, so, yeah. But, yeah. Then Friday, big old Comic-Con video, which you will see this Bret Hart figure again in that video, because it's going to be one of the figures I have on the table when I freaking do my video. And then next Monday, I'm going to talk, I'm going to do a recap of X-Men, the animated series, and, you know, X-Men 97 Season 1. And then I'm going to be doing a lot of talking about X-Men 97 Season 2, because that'll be 2 days away from that premiere, because we get it next week. And I can't wait to see that. But anyway, that'll do it. Don't forget, tomorrow I also got the build to Bash at the Figure Beach, where I believe it'll be Bam Bam Bigelow, Booker T, Jake the Snake, and Vader doing promos tomorrow. Yeah. So, and then Friday, like I said, the Comic-Con predictions video. So, yeah. Anyway, that'll do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Sorry I went a little long, but I wanted to talk about a few other things before I finish this video. Leave a comment, subscribe for more. Follow my Facebook fan page, Mr. 183 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Trajan Toys. And you know what? This Wednesday's video will not be as random as last Wednesday's Mortal Kombat video. So, yeah. I know I put some random things in there, like when I mentioned the BET thing. Or not BET, freaking MTV Classic Video Hip Hop. And then, I also, you know, did the fake sponsorships and all that. But, you know, which I talked about that on the freaking playthrough of Mortal Kombat 2 for Sega Saturn, which I thought was an easy version of Mortal Kombat 2 until I started playing it live freaking Friday and I was getting my butt kicked. I didn't even make it close to Shang Tsung, Kitaro, or freaking Shao Kahn in that one. But that'll do it. Catch you guys later, and Superman!